Hey Sagittarians, how y'all doing? Welcome. We're going to be doing your monthly November reading here. So let's get right into your meditation. Oh, I saw a castle, and I would even go so far as to say a bit of the idea of like a cliche castle from fairy tale land. It was nighttime and it was covered in sparkly fairy lights, right? It was beautiful. And then I saw all these different characters from different fairy tales roll up and sit in front of the castle. I saw Cinderella. I saw Little Red Riding Hood, honey. I saw Sleeping Beauty. I even saw Elsa from Frozen. All of these different characters from, these fairy tales. I saw them all ride up and sit in front of the castle and observe. Waiting, watching, observing. Okay? Then I saw this eagle, this beautiful radiant eagle, like a la Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, the eagles are coming, the day is saved. Swoop in larger than life, land on top of the castle, and he landed on this clock, this big clock face. It struck midnight, and then this beautiful light, right? The eagle made this beautiful sound like it's midnight, it's time, this beautiful light radiated and emanated. And I feel like the Sagittarius collective is being represented by the fairy tale characters, okay? In the mode of being an observer. It's really, really fascinating. When I think about the symbology within this meditation, I think about eagles being about clear sight, about their ability to see the larger picture while at the same time being able to discern details as well. I think about their relationship to spirit, how they're considered within certain healing and shamanic traditions about being messengers of spirit. And even within, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, they save the day on more than one occasion. And they make a big entrance, right? The fact that the clock struck midnight, this is something that I've been channeling for quite some time. When we think about midnight, it is the end of one day, and 2:22 on the timer, and the beginning of another. When I think about the eagles as well, the phrase new dawn comes to mind. So I feel like there's this energy of this one time period is ending and then a new one is beginning. And what's on the other side of midnight is, right, that 12:01, that new dawn, that new day, new beginning. But what I'm really drawn to within this context is the observer part of it. But I also feel like the fairy tale is actually significant as well, because if we think about it, fairy tales hold what? Lessons and morals within certain cultures, right? Because I think about mythology and myths themselves hold lessons and stories that really span across a lot of different cultures, right? But also when I think about, because I feel like I'm tapping into like the hero's journey a la Joseph Campbell right now for you guys. Because there's this energy of within mythology, right? The hero's journey, as it were. The hero goes off, goes through these tests, receives supernatural aid. Then he, this and that and this, or she, then and that, this and that. And then comes back and shares with their collective the benefits of what they've learned or accomplished or quite physically brought back from their travels, right? Think of Odysseus, right? Think of Odysseus and what he brought home after, the war. So it's interesting because when I think about that is the difference between a myth and a fairy tale. A fairy tale, they go off and do these things, but they don't necessarily contribute anything to the collective as a result. I mean, Cinderella, got her Prince Charming, and that was the name of that tune. I don't know how the collective was necessarily benefited, but you know what I mean? From, okay, cool, you got your man? Great. Okay. But no shade to Cinderella fans out there, but it's a bit like okay. Mythology, however, it's like what we get as a collective because this singular, person or energy went out and withstood trials and tribulations, right? Comes back and makes the collective better as a result. I feel like there's something in that for y'all for November. So let's go ahead and see what the animal energy is. Oh, okay, this is really, really pertinent. Okay, so we got 2 for 1. We have the horse here. So the horse equates to the chariot. which makes a lot of sense. I also think about horses, Cinderella, fairy tales, like all of that. Horses, horses, horses. You know, this is very much about freedom. It's that chariot energy as well, which is fast, forward moving, balanced energy. And I want to say this, I was actually just talking about this in the collective reading, which it's overall. Ooh. Y'all, sorry about that. I moved my leg and it came crashing down. It's over on Patreon, the collective reading, but I'm going to reference it here briefly. I was talking about the chariot and the way that the chariot, the path of it, the way that it goes is directly proportionate to our relationship to it upon getting on it, right? So if we get onto the chariot wanting to control its every move and get to our destination at a certain time, it will break a spoke because we're trying to control something that spirit, that the universe, that our higher self wants to control, but we're here within our ego trying to see that it goes a certain way and we're too invested in an outcome. It's attachment. However, if we surrender and allow and go, hey, I'm going to observe the experience. I'm going to go, okay, let it go the way that it goes. And if we need to make 10 stops on the side of the road, getting there, cool. Because I know that that's part of the journey, right? So it's like one side of the chariot is a focus on the destination. The other side of the chariot is a focus on the journey. I feel like y'all are focused on the journey. Or you're being asked to focus on the journey. Anyway, it's a much better time, really, I'll tell you. You know, also, when I think about the horse as well, a horse personality type or someone who has, you know, the horse as a power animal, they are very concerned with the needs of the collective. Someone who has a horse as a power animal is going to carry the suffering and burdens of other people, okay? So there's that aspect to this. On the flip side, they value their freedom above all else. If you try to confine them, tell them what to do, try to force their hand, they will buck and nip and kick. Okay? So there is this aspect here of freedom. There's a bit of a wild woman energy or wild man energy of tapping into the untamed aspects of yourself during this time as well, which leads to freedom. But again, I'm very much drawn to this observer thing. Bearing witness, right? It's interesting. I do feel like there's a special note here because the horse is very much about astral travel as well with the moon cycles. I do feel like there is this special message too for a group of you watching this who are very, very connected into the world of spirit, who do meditate, who are connecting in with your third eye, who do have prophetic dreams, who do have feelings about things before they happen. There is a special message around that. I would expect some sincere movement on that score. In terms of your intuition, your sight, your feeling, right? Horses also are empathic. Okay, so there's that as well. And I have the vulture as well, which is amazing. So vulture equates to a 10 of swords energy, right? This is also going, okay, well, 10 of swords, something has ended because I'm going back to that 12 o'clock midnight thing between, you know, the end of one day and the beginning of another, right? Waiting for the dawn. So this vulture energy is also about, okay, so things have ended. But what can we pick? I'm seeing an image from WALL-E, the Pixar movie. What can we pick out of this scrapyard to refurbish ourselves something even better? Or just as good, right? But I think in this context, it's something even better. See how this vulture is observing as well? The vulture observes and waits for its moment and then goes and gets its food, right? From the scraps that are left over. Vultures, the great recyclers. There is a recycled energy here, but I feel like it's also refurbished. It feels like we're looking at something that feels... There's an energy of happy expectation, but it's not an expectation in a way that's, you know, feels controlled. It feels like you are expecting a certain turn of events, and you're doing so from a place of contented observation, interestingly enough. All right. What's going on? Oh, in a different location today. Did I say that already? I'm in a location today, again, for this round. Yeah. Okay. Ace of Cups. This is pretty much exactly what I was saying. You know, this is a lot of intuitive downloads, like I was literally just saying. This is also great love. This is also self-love, serving oneself so that you can serve others better. There does seem to be this very distinct energy of your fellow man, your fellow woman, your fellow human, your fellow spiritual being having a human experience, right? It very much feels like the thing is, I want to say humanitarian, but it doesn't quite feel right. Spiritarian. But yeah, Ace of Cups. I do. There's this distinct feeling of emotional balance I'm clicking into. Let's talk about this. It's very King of Cups as well, because the King of Cups is very much about emotional balance. And because the King of Cups is so good at emotional balance, he is able to harness his intuition in a way that is very, very powerful, right? And clear and correct. In my opinion, the King of Cups is the example, right? Within the Suit of Cups, he is the example of what working with your intuition is embodied in its fullest and highest and best form. The Queen of Cups is super intuitive, but she gets to a place of overwhelm, and a lot of it is kept to herself. The benefit of the King of Cups is that he's able to, right, share what he gets with other people because he's coming from that place of balance, right? Emotional balance, intuitive insights. Yeah. Okay. So we have strength here. This is really funny because remember what I was saying about horses? They carry energetically, well, physically they carry people, but energetically they carry the struggles and fear and plights of the collective energy and those around them on their back. And then we have the strength energy coming up here with the number 8 key. Yeah, this is really interesting. This ox energy here as well, I'm really living for, because the ox is so beautiful. It's very much about perseverance and also going at a pace that feels right within for you, outside of the opinions, beliefs, directives of those around you or even your collective. I mean, I love this going at your own pace reality, right? It's actually akin to the chariot and the horse that I was speaking of earlier. It's your relationship to the journey. It's your relationship to the vehicle on the journey, right? I do feel like this is speaking again to this aspect of allowance and moving in a way that feels, yeah, see how the ox is standing still at this point in time? I feel like that's really pertinent too. I feel like this is a beautiful message too. Remember when I saw those fairy tale characters rolling up to the castle and then they just sat and waited? Well, part of the reason I knew they were fairy tale characters is because they brought their carriages and their modes of vehicles with them. Like Cinderella, I saw that big pumpkin carriage, right? Like I saw those things. So it's really interesting that this is coming up in this way. You are prepared for this. I want to say that to you. You are prepared for this time. You are prepared for what comes next. You are prepared in a lot of different ways across many different platforms. It just feels like there is this distinct energy of groundedness, right? Preparedness and observation. I'm hearing RuPaul, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. Feels good. Yeah, oh my God, wow. That's something else. Came up in the reverse. The Ten of Wands here, I can't. Do you see that, snail? And we're talking about going at a pace that serves you outside of the directives or thoughts or opinions or feelings of others. You're like, hey, this is a heavy load I'm carrying. I'm going to keep it moving. Here's the thing, though. Remember when I said that clock striking midnight in the beginning of one cycle going into another? Now, this is the last key in the wand suit, right? Of the minor arcanas here. And then after this, it moves forward into the Page of Wands and into the court cards. But this is really interesting because this 10 of Wands here is about burden and effort and heavy load. We have this mirrored here, right? With the strength key. But another aspect of the 10 of Wands is moving. I mean physically moving from one place to another, spiritually moving from one aspect into another. This is really, really cool. I'm also getting this image of like all these fairy tale characters rolling up to the castle and assembling together to observe and bear witness. Interesting, right? The snail carries its home on its back. And then we have the strength key here with carrying all of this load, carrying its home on its back. When I say that you're prepared for this, I'm getting this particular image around the Ten of Wands with the snail here. Because this snail is enduring a storm, right? But do you see how the snail's burdens, physicalized burdens, are keeping it sheltered from the storm? Do you see all the weight that it's accrued is actually acting as its source of shelter? Something to that. Let's get some clarifiers. Ace of Cups. Obsessed. We just talked about the Page of Wands. So we have the Page of Wands with the Ace of Cups here. So the page, so stunning. This is MJ Cullinane's new deck. I'm so obsessed with it. She makes the Crow Tarot. Okay. Page of Wands. So traditionally speaking, the Page of Wands is about courage, right? It's about beginning a new cycle, which I keep coming to, right? A new cycle related to something that is around the actions that you take, art, right? Creativity, passion, anything that you are super passionate about or excited about, right? The wand is about action. So I like that this is coming up to clarify the Ace of Cups here, which is about great love, intuitive insights, psychic downloads, self-care, all of that good stuff, right? I feel like this is a beautiful way of saying that as you serve and allow for yourself to sit in stillness and nurture yourself and allow for these insights and downloads and points of self-love to manifest within and around and for you, from that, it actually bears a fruit of you percolating a new energy of, oh my God, I'm imagining the next thing. I'm imagining what's on the other side of this year. It feels like there's a clearing of the energy that allows for room for this. I feel like there's some of you who are going to really receive that. Yeah. It's like there's room has been made. I want to say. Room has been made. Cool. Strength. Ooh. Ooh. So obsessed. Look. We got the same animal twice from two different decks. Are we obsessed? I love this so much. Anyway, so Six of Pentacles, traditionally this is, equal give and take, reciprocity. This is also being a benefactor for others who are less fortunate or not in the same position to give as you are. So I'm seeing a theme here. Carrying the collective burdens, you could look at that as this way, or also even carrying your own burdens or your own past and history moving forward, moving from one cycle into the other, taking what you've learned with you and leaving the rest, going at a pace that serves you. I feel like there is this beautiful message of being there for other people, but I feel like that's going to manifest in different ways. I do. I feel like some of you guys, it's really just taking the extra time to make sure that your elderly neighbor has what they need and giving thought and focus for them, right? While getting your own needs met as well. I feel like for others of you, interesting. I feel like others of you, you're going to learn that it is an act of self-love sometimes to give people space, even if they don't know that they would benefit from it. That feels really, yeah. What do I mean by that? Okay. So a lot of the collective energy for November is going to be of extremes. It's going to be a lot of up and down. There's going to be a lot of frenetic energy. It's sort of the climax, as it were, before the denouement occurs. And we want the denouement, honey. We want the denouement. Been waiting on the denouement for a minute. Okay? But let's say you have people around you. This could be even social media people, and taking a step back from social media for a minute. But this could also be people in your life, whatever have you, where they are dead set in a certain way of thinking or a certain doom and gloom or even a toxic positivity, whatever this is. And they are in an extreme energy to the point where they are refusing to see the middle. They are not in the place of an observer. This is what I mean. You have the opportunity to be the observer, and these people in your atmosphere are hell-bent on being an experiencer. There is no right or wrong. There is no better or whatnot. Personally, I would choose to be an observer. You could even say it's an awakened aspect to be an observer, right? That is the path of wokeness, as it were. They're going to be around you, the people around you that are hell-bent on being in the experiencer energy, because that is their path and those are the lessons that they have to learn. You may come to certain points this month where you go, I think the best thing that I can do for them, as opposed to going, hey, like, can you consider this point of view? Hey, can you please stop, looking at everything from this glass half empty thing? Like, let's look at it this way. Where's the middle ground? Where's the maybe the best thing that you could possibly do is take space and distance and allow them to percolate within that lesson for themselves without you have to actively participate in it yourself. Okay? All right. And sometimes that can be really hard, especially for my empaths watching this. That can be really hard, but sometimes that is an act of self-love, but also not just self-love, but love for the other person. When you go, you know what? This isn't serving either one of us. I realize that even though I'm not meaning to, I'm enabling because I am bringing an energy that is counter to where you are, and it is triggering you to stay more where you are as opposed to come to my side or come to meet me in the middle. Okay? Ooh, so pretty. Queen of Wands. I'm living for this. So, Queen of Wands, to clarify the Ten of Wands. The Queen of Wands she is my favorite queen. And she's also representing you as a Sagittarius in your feminine form. Here's what I love about her, though. Like, she really is. She's my absolute favorite because she absolutely has the idea, aspect, and reality of wherever I am is home. Home is wherever I am. Home is a feeling. It's very Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, darling. Home is a feeling, not a place. Home is something that I create with and for myself because I am at home with and for myself, right? She never feels displaced. No matter where she is, she never feels homesick. She never feels that kind of loss or loneliness because she is her own best counsel and her own best friend. She never gets tired of hanging out with herself, which is why she's so wonderful. She is her own best company, right? So I love that this is the energy around the Ten of Wands and going at your own pace and moving into this next cycle, right? I feel like you're moving into a place where you're really experiencing in a even a physicalized way that you really don't need anything outside of you, right? To have everything that you could need, want, and desire. I just saw 2222 on the timer here. I also feel like I'm hearing this song Atlas by the Wood Brothers, which is lay your burdens down, we'll both be stronger. Don't you try to hold my world up. Don't you try to hold my world up. I feel like this is that. I feel like it's a trope in a lot of stories as well, where there's that moment where the heroine is seemingly abandoned by their mentor. And they're like, wait a minute, where are you? And they're like, no, it's time for you to like go on your own. There is this feeling here of this. I feel like, again, it's what I just said about it's going to be you relating to other people in your life, showing love by going, I'm going to let you, or I'm going to allow you to play out, not that they need permission, but I'm going to lovingly allow you to play out your story, and I'm going to go over here and observe. Right? There is this distinct energy within that. But what I'm really obsessed with this about is that there's not a feeling of pain or loss around it. It's going, I see the universal love and oneness within myself and all living beings. And because of that, I can observe you being an experiencer and love you from over here. Right? Others of you, you may observe these people in your surroundings who are in the experiential, aspect, but also choose to, maybe it's an aspect, okay, well, I'm not going to necessarily go over here, but I am going to keep in mind that it is a difficult road to be the path of the experiencer, especially in the current energies going into November, where you can come from a place of compassion and send them, loving energy and calming energy, and just understand that they are where they are, without trying to change or impose where you are upon them in any way. Even if you think that, even though you know that if they could meet you in the middle, or at least drink some of your observer tea, that they would have a lot better time of it, because at the end of the day, you just want them to feel better, right? And not do this to themselves and whip up in a panic and a frenzy and everything else. But sometimes it's just about holding space. And I feel like that's what this is saying. The Queen of Wands with the Ten of Wands is very much about holding space, both for yourself and those around you who are not where you are. Which is also the lesson of an ascended soul as well, and a soul that is ascending, which is pretty cool. Let's get an oracle for y'all. Oh, that was quick. Oh, hello! I can't with this. This is just too on the nose. Vision quest, really? Listen, let's talk about this. The vision quest is something that you do on your own. I really want to point that out. The vision quest is something that, we're talking about the hero's journey. The vision quest is from the hero's journey. Like the hero's journey incorporates a vision quest, I should say. It's not from that. But the vision quest is where you go from one state of being and then come out the other. This is exactly what I was getting, right? When I talk about, Odysseus and the path of the heroine or the hero bringing something back for the collective. You are going on a vision quest of a certain type and sort, right? Where you are imagining what comes next. Whereas the rest of the collective or people around you aren't able to do that at this given point because they are way too focused on not the here and now in necessarily like a negative way, because, as Eckhart says, like the magic is the here and now, and that is very, very true. But they are engaging in an experience that is fueled by what ifs and fear. Okay? And you are over here like, I'm going to be an observer around all that. I'm going to keep that TV on in the background, but I'm going to come over here and change my own channel on my second TV and go on my own vision quest, because I understand that what's on the other side of this is an opportunity within the context of a refurbished reality, and I know what I want to create now. I know what I want to go off and do, and I do have a feeling that it has to do with serving the collective or making your piece of the earth better than how you found it. But it does feel like alone time, or it feels, if it's not alone time, that it's something that you are incubating within and for yourself. Okay? That is going to have a chance to gestate and grow before it's birthed into reality. Right? But this is, look at how, like, in ecstasy this lady is. Like, sign me up. You know what I mean? The vision quest, we're talking about intuitive insights, excitement for the future, understanding that people are where they are, being an observer in the midst of experiencers, right? Perspective is on lock here, and I really, really like that. I really, really like that. Guys, this is your November monthly reading. This was like something else. I really hope that this helped and resonated. If so, please do let me know in the comments below. I really love reading your comments very much. And with that being said, just thank you. Thank you so very much for being here. And as always, thank you for being you, and be well. Until next time.